Welcome back to A Nerd, a Teacher, and a Hockey Player, a relevant yet irreverent look at business, technology, and life in Wichita or wherever you may be. I'm Paul. I'm the nerd.
I'm Kimber, and I'm the teacher.
I'm Jeff. I play the hockey player. And Paul, who do we got here to my left?
A little bit of stranger danger. My friend,
True.
Hopefully we can call each other friends now.
Yes.
My friend Sam Foreman. Sam, tell us about yourself and why you're here today.
So I'm a father of two kids. I've got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm a business and M&A attorney and started my firm about 6 years ago. I tricked my wife into marrying me. I mean, that's probably obvious if you've spent any length of time with me. You're like, how did that happen? Well, you know, the Lord moves in mysterious ways, and some people's crosses to bear are just bigger than other people's. So, but yeah, love being part of the Wichita community, love working with business owners, and I really love being a dad. It's the best part of my life right now.
So you're driving today. What are we talking about?
So we're talking about dad life and work-life balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get too deep into that, I want to talk about T-shirts.
T-shirts.
I knew we were talking about dad life, so I chose to wear the Happy Father's Day shirt that my girls got me because
I love it. I'm
Father's Day.
I'm giggling because it's
Happy
so cute.
Father's Day because I have transitioned from the dad life to the grandpa life / dog dad life. So this was a gift from my girls. I think they had help from mom, but a gift from my girls a couple years ago. Kimber, what are you wearing?
My shirt says never enough plants because there aren't
because
any.
plants.
Because plants.
Why does it have a skull on it?
Because someone was looking for enough plants
Yeah.
and they couldn't find enough, and it killed them.
Killed them. They died trying.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Chris Cornell, the late great Chris Cornell of Soundgarden. Got to see him solo at the Stiefel Theater about 7 years ago. It was an amazing show.
So did they find enough plants in the sound garden?
I see what you did there. That was good.
They did not.
They did not.
Okay.
Don't worry, there will be more dad jokes. You can ask me to stop. I can't help myself.
I love the dad
We
joke.
won't ask you to stop.
Okay. Well,
Thank you. It would be a waste.
let's dig into the dad life and work life balance and all that. Sam, I know that's dear to you.
First, can I just say this? I follow you on LinkedIn. The dad life. I look for the dad life posts because good for at least a belly laugh each week when you post those. So please keep them coming. I love it, and that was kind of the genesis behind this.
Well, thank you. I love talking about my kids. I've got a new one that's fresh today. I actually got two.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'll talk about these sometime. They're not on LinkedIn yet. This is fresh material.
Okay, this is awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So
I thought we were talking about children. And I was like, oh, why are you here? Never mind.
Yeah.
Dad jokes.
I'm just here for the dad jokes. The heartwarming, entertaining stories about my kids are extra. So I went on a trip to Kansas City over the weekend and at the beginning of this week. Had some marketing production stuff, and my 3-year-old has become very attached to me recently, which is just wonderful. It's beautiful. But he was like melting down and like crying and just like really, really missing me. And so I got home last night and I brought him Legos and is very excited about that. He wants to build them all right then at 8 o'clock while he's like rubbing his eyes and just like melting into a puddle on the floor. He's like, I've got energy for this. I can sit. Like, no, we're gonna go to bed. And then not 12 hours after getting home, I'm like, hey, why don't you come hang out with me? Because mom needs a break and mom needs some mom time in the mornings because our kids are a lot. He's like, no, I don't like you anymore.
Oh, no, what happened?
So my 3-year-old, his name is Hayes. One of Hayes' spiritual gifts in life is just being able to spontaneously change his mind. So he changes his mind faster than politicians change their beliefs about everything. So it's amazing. It's amazing. It'll make your head spin. So that happened this morning. And then, we talk about being present and the importance of that as a parent. And I'm working from home right now. He came into the office while I was on a call and he was playing quietly. So quietly I didn't even know he was in there. He came back later to tell me to come up for lunch and he's like, yeah, I peed in my shorts. And I'm like, oh no, what happened? And he said, And I sat down on the rowing machine. Our office is in our home gym downstairs as well. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go wipe this off. Like, didn't just get on the seat, guys. It was like, I don't know, like this was like advanced level, whatever had happened. And so it took me a while to clean up, but I'll figure out how to channel that into something meaningful and deep. I don't know how yet. It'll come to me. But,
it's a different position than being at the gym and having somebody wipe off their oogie sweat.
Yeah. I'm just so glad he told me about it.
He'd be like, I'm rowing, and it's like,
what smells like someone peed in here?
I must be really sweating up the storm because it smells like pee here. Good work.
You might want to see a doctor if your sweat smells like pee. I just unsolicited advice, but
that's good. Good.
Yeah.
But Sam, I think it's interesting in your line of work that you've made the deliberate choice to be present and be be the active parent and be working from home, because so many people in your industry don't.
Yeah. And I don't usually work from home, but we're doing that right now, and that's given me it's nice to do that because it allows me to see more. My wife's the primary caregiver for our kids, and so it gives me a deeper set of empathy for what she's going through every day, because I can hear it through the floors and it's loud.
Right.
And there's lots of thundering footsteps and stuff, and so helps me be a more engaged spouse, but also allows me to be more accessible to my kids, who sometimes just really need to have a little extra dad time.
A dad moment.
But yeah, it is, and it's definitely something that's a ongoing kind of work in progress. I mean, I feel like I'm constantly getting tugged away with the urgent and important. I mean, we've all probably seen Stephen Covey's, 4 quadrants. There's the urgent and important, and just constantly getting pulled away from that with work, and then trying to build boundaries and build rhythms of like, hey, I'm really trying to be home by 6 so that we can have, dinner as a family, and I don't want to touch any work until after the kids are in bed. And so setting good expectations with, clients on that, and setting good boundaries, and it makes a big difference. And
on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are in that journey?
I have to start it at least 1. There's
I'm on the board.
No, because I'll be honest with you. I've got huge respect for your approach to all of that. I even noticed in your email signature it says, "Hey, I have boundaries and don't hassle me after 5 o'clock," and all of those kind of things. Which I think in a world where technology has us ever connected, that yes, I can send you an email at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
That you're setting those boundaries that said, send me the email at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not gonna respond to it.
Right. Yeah. And
so I would give you way better than a 1.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel like there's days where I'm, between like a 7 and a 9, and those are really good days. And then there's days where I feel like I'm between like a 1 and a 3. Like there's, with the work that we do, there's times where you go through seasons where the boundaries just kind of disappear out of necessity, and we're trying, really hard, and I think we're succeeding with our firm at building a team that allows us to really consistently honor those boundaries, because a lot of times it is about that availability, that capacity, that bandwidth. And so, that's one of those things where it's like that's a long-term commitment that I'm making to my family and making to myself is, hey, how intentionally am I going to build my business in a way that allows me to, not only take great care of clients and, have a nice quality of life, but really be able to honor those things that really matter most at the end of the day, which is family. And if you don't have a team that you can rely on, that you can, be able to hand a project off to, that is going to take care of something, then you're constantly carrying that mental load around of, hey, I've got to make sure this is all getting done. And while you're carrying that mental load, you're just more disengaged from your family. You're less present with your kids. You're more likely to be, checking your phone periodically, which can be very damaging long term for kids if you're doing that a lot. And so, I don't feel like I'm doing a real consistent job at honoring all those boundaries, but I think one of the things I've learned over the last year or two that's been really helpful is not just, trying to set up those negative boundaries of, hey, I don't do this, but being really diligent at putting in place those big blocks of, hey, I do this. Like I am home for dinner. I might be
Right.
late, but I am home for dinner. And I do get up and play with my kids in the morning. I do make breakfast in the morning. I do have what we call dad dates on Saturdays. Those are just, times where I take the boys out for a couple hours. Like this last weekend, we went out to Santa Fe Lake, and we got one of those tandem kayaks, and we're like pedaling around. And my 3-year-old is freaking out, being like, I don't want to go do this anymore. After we already paid $35 for the hour rental.
It's got the life jacket on and everything.
And my 7-year-old is up in the front being like, this is amazing.
And what I think is fascinating about all that,
Yeah.
Sam, is it kind of goes back to that old adage that nobody on their deathbed ever wishes they worked more.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And I respect the deliberate choice you're taking to work the right amount for the stage you are in life.
Right. No, I appreciate that. Because it's, one of the things I observed early on in my career was that there's, like, in our industry, it's phenomenal at just destroying people. It just is, inside and outside of the law. We're so efficient at it, and that's not a good thing. But is that you had all of these people that spent the first half of their career kind of climbing this career mountain, and probably through a variety of circumstances, seemingly destroying all these things around them, their relationships, their health, their mental well-being, all this other stuff. And then they'd take all that money that they made climbing the hill, and then they'd spend it on the way down trying to fix all of the things that they'd broken.
Right.
And I have the benefit of hindsight that they may not have had. And maybe they did their best, and I'm sure they did in all those situations. But just being able to benefit from being able to see that and be like, hey, I think I want something different than that. And then getting to a place where it's like, I know what I want, and this is how I want it to look. And then how do I, work hard and put myself in a position to overcome my own mistakes and get, as close to that as I can. But that takes a lot of mistakes. I mean, you make a lot of mistakes on the road to clarity, and in terms of finding out what you really want in life. And, the first 2 years or so, and after our oldest was born, I wasn't nearly as present.
I was going to ask you if this was always, if you started off with that, or if that just,
I know
it morphed.
Definitely started off with the aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could ask me, like, hey, cognitively, do you want to be a good dad? I'm like, no,
Well,
I
who
want to be a
doesn't wanna
terrible
be-
dad.
Yeah,
This is,
right. Let me think. No.
do you want to be a present father? Nah, not really. No. But what I found, and I still have this strong tendency, and when I'm not paying attention, I'll slip back into it, is that short-term compromises become long-term habits.
Right. Agreed.
And, some of it goes back to just that primal wiring that we have of we're reacting to the urgent, we're reacting to the crisis. Like, hey, if work is on fire, family's still going to be there, right? But you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and then you start discovering that, hey, there's this distance, there's these patterns that just aren't what we want. And we made some hard changes as a family, and did it all around the time we were starting a law firm. So, some
Good
of the
timing.
thinking doesn't make sense. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You're very kind. You're very gracious.
Well, and what's interesting, you kind of hit on it there, is kind of we talk about it at the office occasionally, the adage of boiling a frog. If you go to boil a frog and throw him in already boiling water, he hops right out.
Right.
But if you put a frog in a pan of cold water and slowly turn up the heat, all of a sudden he's cooked. And I think that happens to us. You kind of alluded to it in the stretching of the boundaries. I'm gonna answer this call at 11 o'clock tonight, and because it's urgent, I'm gonna answer the call at 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
Right.
And I'm gonna stay up and work all night on this particular project tonight. And pretty soon, the heat keeps getting turned up, and clients expect the heat to get turned up. You get comfortable with the heat getting turned up, and pretty soon, before you know it, the frog's been cooked.
Right. Yeah. No, that's an excellent illustration. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you, when you're giving this work-life balance and you're doing, are you ever tempted? How do you stay present? How do you not, when the phone goes ding, is that something that you had to work on, or did that just kind of come as part of the boundaries?
I've never struggled with this. No.
It's going to be a
Dang.
lightning
Okay.
bolt, right? Like, scoot over.
Yeah, there's not like a lever that sends me straight down to like the alligator pit. Is
Right,
there?
right.
Like, okay.
No, there's not. There's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't feel like I'm great at that. But when I'm good at it, we have a practice we do at work called zeroing out. And it's one I highly recommend. When things are going well at work and personally, I'm really consistent at zeroing out. And zeroing out is a practice where we try to clear the mental load by the end of the day, so that you can go home and you can be present. And you're not just constantly running this mental list of all the urgent, important, forgotten, items that you got to deal with. And so for us, it's like, hey, I'm going to look at my task list and I make sure that if something is not done, I'm going to reschedule it to when I'm actually realistically going to do it. And I'm going to update people on, hey, this is, I'm going to need more time on this or whatever. I'm going to make sure all my documents are saved. I'm going to make sure my phone notes are saved. I'm going to make sure that, I've done all of the things that I need to do to be able to say, okay, I'm done with today. I'm ready for tomorrow, and now I can go and be somewhere other than at work. But when you're taking all of that with you, then your brain is constantly trying to process and help you survive and all that. And so, and then when the ding goes off, it's, it's that much, more difficult not to just kind of re-engage with that. And so when I'm diligent about doing that, that really helps.
Zeroing out.
Because then I'm not just thinking about like, hey, I need to pick up my phone and make a note of this thing that I need to do that I forgot to write down. Because like on any given day, I mean, just like, anybody else, I might have 100, 120 different things that I'm sort of monitoring or trying to keep track of or trying to execute on in some various stage. And so, I mean, that's a lot, if you don't have a good system in place, you're going to be constantly, your brain's going to be constantly working to try to help you and protect you with that. So that system's been really good. Trying to turn off the phone so that it's it's not running my life. Right. But I mean, as much as anything, what I've learned is like I don't do well with like negative space boundaries of, hey, don't do this. I do really well with to-dos, like active type items. That's where like dad dates is a really good thing for me because it doesn't just say I don't work on Saturdays. Like I do work on Saturdays sometimes. Like I try to time it for either after the kids are in bed or, they're down for a nap or something like that so that I'm not taking time away from them. But the real thing that helps is the dedicated time with them because that's what they need. They don't just need me to not be at work. They need me to be with them.
Right.
So those kind of things help me a lot.
Well, I think life, abhors a vacuum. So
yeah,
if
100%.
you don't have something scheduled at 2:00 today, something will find its way in. And if it's not something you deliberately choose, it's going to be work or some other some other BS like that.
Right.
So I think it's a brilliant idea to take the deliberate step of saying, I don't work on Saturdays. But not only do I not work on Saturdays, I'm going to go ahead and schedule my Saturdays so that it's dad date and cutting the grass and this home project I've been trying to get to, and then a movie with the kids.
Right.
And there's no space for lawyer crap to make its way in, or nerd crap to make its way in.
Yeah, those are the legally correct terms for that. But yes, no, you're absolutely right. And then, when you're in particular positions, either as a business owner or a business leader, I think there's a ton of value to being able to sit back and think like, hey, how is the way that I'm designing my work? How is the way that I'm making these choices fit in with these higher level priorities? And how am I doing that on purpose? Right. From everything to like, hey, what kind of clients am I going to take on? Like there are some small clients that can take just as much time or more than larger clients. Am I seeing consistency in projects so that I can create, standard operating procedures so that I can help train a team that can go execute without my direct involvement on everything. Right. And some of that you learn through the pain points of this isn't working well. I'm not present. I'm working all the time. I got to build bandwidth. And we've been kind of going through some of that at home ourselves of, giving ourselves the grace to be like, okay, we're going through a season and we've got to make these changes, but we're making the changes because we know that when this stuff starts to eat up more than it should, like that can't continue. And so you have to work really hard to build something around you that allows you to have the ability to actually act on those boundaries and those priorities. And because we're not passive participants in the work that we design, regardless of where we're at.
Jeff mentioned kind of 3 controversial words earlier. He said work-life balance. And I think there are people out there that don't believe that exists. I'd like to get your take on that, Sam.
So there was this one time, and this one person, and ever since it's been a myth. No. So I have a different opinion on this than I would have probably a year or 2 ago. And if you ask me again tomorrow, I'll probably have a different answer for you. But
Kimber, would you mark the calendar to have me back next year and revisit this?
Follow up.
But I would say where I'm at right now is I'm really intrigued by the idea of alignment more than I am the idea of balance. I think that where the idea of work-life balance becomes so compelling is when you feel like things are way out of whack. And I think that when you feel that way, it's a really good cue to try to figure out what is off, what is out of alignment, and how do I get it back into alignment. We've been doing a lot of hard work as a family to kind of refine, hey, what is our family mission? What does our direction look like? And then how do we order our lives around what those key priorities are so that we're as focused as we can on the things that matter most, and we have a lot of clarity around those. Because when you have that sense of alignment, nothing really feels like work.
Right.
And so then I think where I'm at today is for my life, and I don't know if this is the same for everybody, is I don't want it to feel like there's all of these compartmentalized pieces that don't fit together. Like I feel like, hey, having this really clear sense of, hey, my direction, my purpose, my calling, our calling as a family together is in this direction. And so how do we kind of get everything to fit together for the most part in alignment with that, as opposed to in some instances institutionalizing the conflict between things and then trying to keep them separate in a way that they don't really work together as well as they need to, which I think sometimes the pursuit of balance can push us to separate things that should harmonize. And so that's just kind of my thought on it today.
So to kind of riff on that, this is my ADHD kicking in.
I got the squirrel.
It's more like,
surprised we haven't gotten the squirrel out.
No, I'm gonna stay on topic here. But the ADHD just sparked this. So it's more like the Oriental symbol of yin and yang, where what people normally talk about work-life balance is it's 50% 50 white and 50% black. And if you think about the yin and yang symbol, it is a circle. It's a whole thing, but both sides of it are kind of a teardrop shape, where the upper side of the black side is bigger, but then it teardrops down to a smaller piece. And then the white side starts off as a bigger piece and teardrops up to a smaller piece. So they still make a whole of 100% and still take equal amounts of the whole, but at certain points in your life, you're way up here. And the opposite of that is a smaller white piece. But at other pieces of your life, the white piece is larger and the black piece is smaller. So it's kind of navigating through the equilibrium and the synergy of the two than it is trying to find an even 50% balance of it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it, because there are times where your family, needs way more than 50% of you.
Agreed.
And there's times where your work needs way more than 50%. And if you constantly feel like you're accountable to this, perfect balance, you're never going to feel the joy in doing the right, the best things in those moments.
Right.
And I think that's I've experienced that a lot, and that feeling isn't something that I think is something that I need to carry around anymore. So I like the way you described that of the yin and the yang. I think they do, and especially when you have enough clarity, which takes time, and it takes a lot of beating your head against the wall in the wrong direction. As I have a lot of experience with that, to really know, like, hey, where am I going with all of this? And then how do they fit together? Because like the yin and the yang, they fit together.
Right.
And they work together. And so I think that's that's kind of how I feel about it right now.
Okay.
So.
Kimber, you've been quiet. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I'm not uniquely qualified to talk about the dad life.
Let me throw that out. I mean, kind of taking the high road.
Yeah, that's the easy way out.
Easy way out. I've been through, 2 periods of extreme burnout. I've been through 2 extreme career changes because of it. And now, in that for me, it's been more of a form of maturity than anything else. And not I love to say yes. I love to do these things. I want to do this. I'm so excited about it. Ooh, let's go. To, I got nothing left. For me, it moves differently. I don't really have that synergy and flow and balance. Mine is very much a conscious decision of, I'm going to put the electronic away. Yeah. I'm going to delete all my work apps this weekend so I don't do any work, and I'll reinstall them on Tuesday. Mine is very much
she's done that. That's that person who can't, like, that is the ding of the phone. So
that's the self-imposed intervention.
Right.
Yeah, like,
you do you.
And you have to figure out what works in that way. But it's not like for me, I like the alignment that you're talking about. Yeah. I'll never find that.
Well, I think for me, there's always been this pressure to like have it figured out. Right. Like, why don't I have it figured out? Like, shouldn't I know this already? Like, isn't this obvious to everyone else? And I think that, using that maturity word, I think as I've slowly, very slowly, just ask my wife, she'll give you more examples, but she'll be very gracious about it. As you know, that maturing process, really brings a lot of things into clarity that, I mean, it's just, your path's so much different than everybody else's. And I don't feel like anybody sits you down and talks about like, hey, these are the things I struggled with growing up. And I think, our parents have all grown up during periods of, rapid technological change and reordering of, culture, society, technology. And we're going through it again at ever increasing paces. And so we're constantly learning and we're constantly reacting. And so I think when we're constantly in reaction mode, it's much more difficult to be in that sort of intentional, engaged. I mean, you talk about being present earlier, to be present in, and active in your own life when you're just constantly trying to keep up with everything. And so I think, one of the things I want to do with my kids, especially as they get a little bit older, is try to help them sort of take that step back and take that observer mentality in their own life of, hey, observe what's going on, like think about like, hey, what is it that got you into burnout, right? Like what is it that's keeping you from those things that are either clear or, compelling in your life? And then how do you get back into those things? But I mean, it just takes a long time. And there's just so much pressure to feel like you've got it together that then there's a lot of pressure to present as if you've got it all together. And especially in professional circles, like it's hard to carry around like, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this, that, or the other thing. And yeah, anyway, I'm probably getting squirrel at this point.
So we talk to our kids about things. My at-home humans are old enough to have some of those conversations. And I'm very good about being like, wow, guys, I was not, like, we're working from home right now. It's summertime. And I'm sorry I didn't make you lunch today. They can absolutely make their own lunches. They don't need me to do anything for them at all. But I'm like, oh man, I didn't leave my desk in this space with my headphones on for the last 6 hours. I'm sorry about that, guy. Did you need anything today? Be like, I didn't know you were home, Mom. And you're like, oh no.
You're here?
Yeah. Well, that doesn't make me feel good either.
I gotta, if I may, take you back.
No, you may not.
Okay, thanks. Anyway, earlier you said, you talked about zeroing out with your team and how you zero out. Tell me more about that. Is there like a 30 minutes in your day where you, at the end of your day, where you zero out? Or?
Oh, that's a really good idea. It's not like a structured time.
Okay.
It is something that we have like our daily check-ins. We ask like how zeroing out is going.
Okay.
And that creates some accountability around it. But really, zeroing out practiced well is done continuously.
Okay.
Like it's because most of the things that you're doing with a very limited period of like cleanup at the end of the day, like most of those things, like you should be completing the tasks as you're doing them, scheduling them as you're doing them, filing the emails as you're, interacting with the emails, saving the documents as you're interacting with the documents. All of those are things that should be happening.
Not flagged for later, huh, Sam? Like, right. Flag it for later?
Well, you should find what works best for you. But I think it's for us. It's most effective when it's integrated into it, because when it just becomes another task, then it's like, okay, now I've got to re-engage in that. So I've got to spend more mental energy going back to that instead of making it a habit that becomes automatic, while I'm going through that. But that takes a lot. It does take a lot of work, a lot of effort, and so. Very much a work in progress on that, but don't currently have like a set time for it.
It's like, I'm on 0 out time now, so I'm not taking any calls. I'm just getting my stuff in order.
Right. And I don't with the work priorities that I have. I don't usually have that kind of predictability, even at the end of the day, and so it's a challenge to be able to find that. But that's probably something I should experiment with. That'd be good to see what would happen if I did that. So.
Sam, as we wrap things up for today, any last-minute words of wisdom you want to leave our listeners with?
Am I only allowed 1 minute? No. I think I'm just impressed with how much our children and as business leaders, how much the people we interact with, whether it's our team or our customers, how much just kind of rubs off, right, from consistent interactions and modeling. Like I've noticed we've been really diligent at home with our kids on things like kindness, and just seeing, especially with our 7-year-old, stuff like that really start to take root as part of his personality and part of his interactions and habits. And it's really encouraging. It's like, oh, something's working.
Hey, speaking of working, if you're not following Sam on LinkedIn, you gotta tune into the Dad Life. It's really good. You'll learn a couple things, and then it's always good for a chuckle or two. There's usually something about poop or a booger here or something like that.
Man, we have an Alexa at home, and
oh goodness.
My 3-year-old has figured out how to ask it to play songs. I had no idea there were that many songs about poop. There's a lot, y'all. Like, there's some where just literally the only word or almost the only word in the entire song is poop.
And I'm going to leave you with that nugget. See what I did there? I'm going to leave you there with that nugget. Thanks for watching. We've been a nerd, a teacher, and a hockey player. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.